I did it. Wow.
I'm proud of you.
Elden Ring. Wow. Has Cam seen his ending?
I start after you.
Well, I'm on credits.
Oh boy.
We took the same ending anyway, so
Age of the Stars. There's the end credits.
I guess this is that point in time where we talk about what we think of the video game.
We get Journey 2.
Yeah, we we could talk about it. Patches, fuck Patches. He didn't even do anything bad in this game. Still fuck Patches.
I think his story is incomplete.
Yeah, where Patches for Elden Lord? Let's go.
I mean, he almost made it in the previous series.
He's one of the last people alive at the end of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
There is always a Patches.
There is.
I'd say this game's pretty good.
You know, the things that bother us the most are the things I think that make us interested in that co-op mod.
Yeah.
Like the inability to cross over portals and can't use the horses at the same time. And the constant disconnect and reconnect to each other because of various factors in the game. So it's probably just waiting to try a whole new game.
Yeah. I think definitely it also like requires you to follow the quest leads, no matter how vague they are. Or you're just like wandering around kind of lost.
You're wandering around kind of lost because you're following the quest leads.
Well, the problem is I didn't follow any of the actual quest leads. I just followed the main quest lead, which is go forward.
And do things. Like, oh, okay, I can do things.
I can kill guys.
I am capable of the things, yes.
So like a lot of the weirdness is like just what is going on here. I'm sure there's a story here, but I don't know. Just keep hitting, just keep whacking.
Mostly hard to go wrong with that one.
It seems to be a plan. And then like the other problems are just like just the like weapon, the choices of like what stats are attached to weapons, which is like all the cool ones are int build.
All the cool ones are cross build, more specifically.
Yeah. Or super cross build, where it's like you need like 3 or 4 different stats basically to use it properly.
I'm not entirely against that because the previous Dark Souls games didn't have many weapons. So like if you're doing a focused stat build, you have about as many weapons as you had to choose from before. But you're finding all these cool things that require multiple stats, and it's like,
They kind of require you to like go and rebirth several times, I think, if you wanted to like actually experience a bunch of the weapons.
Yep.
And there's no Dark Souls 3 bug where you can just Alt F4 the game at the end of the respec menu to just maintain your respecs. So you have a finite amount of respecs in this game, which is the reason why I was running backup saves.
Yeah.
Because I only had 1 respec left. Because I killed all of the respec things, because I respec so many times trying different things.
No, I won't begin Journey 2 right now. I am at the round table hold. Everyone is dead.
For some reason.
I had nothing to do with that. All right.
Yes, you did. You jerk. How
What
could you?
what even did I do? Like,
How could you? You jerk.
I just killed everyone I met.
I bet you don't even feel bad.
I don't feel at all. Oh, that lady's still here.
I see. You're here.
This spirit lady.
The spirit
Yeah,
lady and the
Smith-
blacksmith
Smith.
stay there because you gotta upgrade your stuff.
She's like, here, you spirit tuning? I'm like, I can't use that because I hang out with homies. Sorry, homie. Yeah, the blacksmith
That's like-
guy just, like, forgets everything, right?
Kinda, yeah.
Go talk to him.
He just said,
Does he know you made the weapon?
he just said, hey, you ready for some smithing?
Oh,
I didn't make any weapons. There's a weapon to make? What?
No, he just wants to be working on the weapon that kills a god.
he never knew he made the weapon. So sad.
Oh, you can get a thing from the final boss. You can get a great sword or a hammer.
It's greatsword has a wave of spam.
A wave of gold?
I know what I said.
It's expensive to use. 42 FP per hit.
It's a pretty big attack. The hammer lets you do like a cool little jump thing, like what the boss did in the arena,
Mm-hmm.
where like he jumps and then he hits the ground and there's a big explosion.
But yeah, there we go.
There we go.
The Elden Ring has been completed.
I think
The first time.
Everything's
I
on
think-
fire.
I think my issues with the game stem from the fact that you have to like, more so than other Dark Souls games, you have to like, kind of look up stuff. Like I'm assuming if we didn't look at if I wasn't here to like tell you guys, hey, use Black Flame Tornado on the final boss, you guys probably would still be here trying to kill it.
Yeah, probably.
Because I find that like when you co-op with certain bosses, like they just get harder rather than easier in some aspects. Unless like the person you're co-oping with like is like the let me solo her guy
Oh.
who fucking killed Melania like 3,000 times or whatever by himself.
Oh, it's a loathsome dung eater. I can finally meet him. I will.
Yeah, I like to make like strength weapons kind of work. Like some of them work. I'm really iffy personally about what's it called? No.
You can do it. I believe in you.
I'm really iffy about the weapon art system, I'm gonna be honest. Like in one hand, it's really nice because you know, you could put like you have less weapons that are just like absolute dog shit. That because their weapon arts are bad. But on the other hand, you can put Royal Knight's Resolve on pretty much anything, and I don't really think that's a good idea either, because this game has a problem with buff stacking in general. This is more of like a PvP complaint rather than a PvE complaint, but you can make almost any weapon art in this game one-shot, as long as it does like even like a remotely small amount of damage. And it doesn't take that much to do it either.
Just gotta line some things up.
It's like a couple of buffs basically. Like it's reasonable to do it with pretty much every weapon art. Like the Black Flame Tornado that we used to kill the final boss, you don't even need buffs for that one. If you just hit a player with it, if they get caught in it and they're like even remotely close to you, they just die to it. And in general, like damage in PvP in this game is like way too high. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
The
not,
funny thing
not
is-
a lot of PvP fighting. It's just like whoever hits with whatever meme they're doing first kind of wins.
Yeah, like I like the PvP in Dark Souls 3, right? So that maybe make that there's some people who aren't gonna watch this video, but whatever. I like the PvP in that game, And you'd think the PvP in this game would be pretty good because it's basically the same engine, right? But the nature of how the PvP in this game evolved is like real shit.
Stack, 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 smack.
Well, it's like it's that, and then like Bloodhound Step. Like if someone doesn't want to get caught in this game, there is nothing you can do to catch them. In terms of like if it's an invader, especially, like if he wants to literally run you through the whole level and never get caught, he can do that. There's also just general exploits and stuff like that, but like, assuming that someone did the same thing that me and Cam did, except they duplicated Starlight Shards, someone can literally like Bloodhound Step away from you for like basically forever. We in fact actually seen it near the end of the playthrough with that one guy that Civvie just killed himself with because he started helmet glitching to get his health back, which is what I did when we were on Cam's fight, by the way.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, but like that's all it like. You kind of, even if they fix the helmet glitch, like they'd have to nerf Bloodhound Step in particular. But even still, it's very difficult to catch people in this game if they know what they're doing and they just run from you. There's like no real tools, and like Dark Souls 3 kind of had that, but it was less to the degree because Bloodhound Step didn't exist. And also just in general, anybody who knows what they're doing using Bloodhound Step is just going to completely dunk everybody. Because that, it's a weapon art that has, if you just spam it, has I think like one frame active where you can actually be hit.
Basically permanent disgust.
Pretty much. Like when we first fought that guy and we were doing like the duel situation, then he brought up Bloodhound Step and I'm just like, alright, just fuck him up, guys, because like I don't want to deal with that.
I don't think anyone does. No
Yeah.
one wants to be on the receiving end of it anyways.
So and Bloodhound Step would be good in Dark Souls 3, technically, like good with the air quotes, if it was like on like a particularly garbage weapon. Because then like it wouldn't be that big of a deal, it'd be balanceable. But like you could put Bloodhound Step on an Ultra Greatsword in this game and it doesn't matter. Like you can put it on anything. I think the only thing you can't put it on is shields. So like you can put that weapon art on literally anything. It has no restrictions at all.
Yeah, I'd like to see more arts that are like that too. Like not that are broken like Bloodhound Step, but like that are available to more weapons, more items.
Oh yeah, like I use Bloodhound Step on whips because like not necessarily because it was broken, because there's literally almost nothing else you can put on them.
Yeah.
Like you're using bleed whips in particular, like there's like no weapon arts that kind of fit what you want to do. So you just put Bloodhound Step. And it's really overpowered, but like there's nothing else you can do. Like the whips have like almost no availability in terms of weapon arts.
Fun.
I was running that Arumi or whatever near the end, just as like a little bit of a meme. And that was running Royal Knight's Resolve, which I also don't think should be available on every weapon. Because it makes it so you can go like Royal Knight's Resolve, and then just jump attack people, and if they get hit by it, they just die instantly. That's it. Like they're just dead. It does like 2,000 damage to players. And like so, even if you like 99'd your vigor and ran like vigor talismans and shit, you still die to it.
Yeah, anything that makes a instant death like needs to be hella balanced.
Yeah, I started running extra HP stuff, so I'm sitting at 2170, so people who go straight to 1900 because that's the usual cutoff, they might not kill me, but they'll probably hit me with the second shot.
Yeah, I'm at like 1975, but the thing is that a lot of those like one-shot things, they do like massive overkill usually because it's not that hard to get that.
Mm-hmm.
Like in general, like if you're running the jump attack stuff, you use the claw talisman plus Raptor's black feathers, and then your jump attacks do more damage than charged R2s, which is like what?
And you see a guy wearing feathers. It's like, just leave.
So I'm iffy about it because the balance kind of gets thrown out the window a little bit because every weapon weapon arts are more widespread, which is interesting because most weapon arts aren't really that great in PvE. There's some good that are good, like Black Flame Tornado, Royal Knight's Resolve, a couple of other ones. But like most of them aren't really that good unless you have, like, even if you're stacking a build to make them really good. But I don't know. That's sort of like my kind of complaint, is like I don't really like the PvP in this game because it's not particularly fun.
Oh, well, hopefully that can be fixed.
Yeah, this game's gotten like 4 patches since it came out.
Oh yeah, I'm used to slow turnaround with From Software patches.
No, this is actually really, really slow for FromSoft patches. Usually what they do is patch it a whole shit ton, and then when they come out with a DLC, they throw out like 3 or 4 more patches, and then the game just is done.
Yeah, well, now they're working on the DLC.
Yeah, they started working on the DLC right away, because this game got like 2 patches that changed things, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I think they might have just like looked at the game and were like, wow, we have to change way too much shit, we're not doing that. Because I think it's a problem of like, it's like just like a mechanic problem, I guess. Like there's too much stuff. So like you'd have to change like how buffs interact with each other, how like I don't know, like buffs interact with each other, how like damage multiplication stacks and stuff.
Yep.
And it's probably too much work to do.
Or it's just a lot of work and they haven't finished it yet.
I honestly think it's just too much work. It's not worth the effort. This game's already going to be popular for a decently long amount of time anyway because of the fact that the PvE experience is good.
Well, we'll see what happens.
And also that co-op mod exists now, so they could just ride off that. People who buy
the mod.
Use,
It's not
people
allowed.
who use the co-op mod still buy
dare
the
they?
game. So
How dare they?
You can't really expect the general user, though, to do the co-op mod. Most people are too stupid to run it. No offense, stupid people, but like... No, wait, that was
Yeah.
offense. No, that was 100%. Use your noodle.
You could be smarter if you tried hard enough.
It's not hard, but that most people, 1, are playing on a console, and 2, don't want to be arsed to set it up, because like most people don't play this game co-op, right? They play Dark Souls games like slowly through however long it takes them to beat it, right? They don't look or they don't spend playing, like they don't play the whole game co-op. It's just us weirdos.
What the heck's wrong with us?
Yeah. And
I think
the thing that like would have made most people turned off about the PvP before, which was humanities, which is, you know, if you're running around with a rune arc on, you would get invaded, now doesn't exist. So like most casual players are almost never going to see a PvP encounter in the first place, because you have to try. Like you either have to invite them purposely into your world or be playing co-op.
Yeah, and I think that's actually probably hurts the game's longevity in general, oddly enough, that PvP only happens if you're co-oping.
Yeah, I agree with that one, because like most of the people who are co-oping like because they aren't very good, or they're trying to play with somebody who isn't very good. And just having like people who their entire goal, like those PvP people know that they're now going to fight 2 to 3 people at all times, whereas before, when you were doing PvP in Dark Souls, you could just run into a single dude. So you don't have to like go full in with like whatever stupid meme build. You could have a fun PvP experience, but like if you roll up on 2 guys, you're going to assume that they're not going to fight honorably because they're people on the internet.
Fun, fun.
So it's one of
Yeah.
those like the PvP decision kind of just makes it worse for everyone, including the PvPers.
Yep.
There's also like some really dumb shit in my opinion. Like, there should just be an item that lets you invade everywhere. Like, hey, everywhere in the world, pick a host that fits my level range and equipment stuff.
Yeah,
Go.
rather
But there isn't.
than having to like put it in a particular zone.
Yeah, the way you PvP now is the way you PvP in every Souls game, but this is a massive open world game, so it's like, why?
It leads to everyone PvPing in like the first zones because that's where people usually are, and then that's the people who need the most help to like get through the start of the game. So you're just PvPing on people who like suck. The people who could fight back are much further in the game and spread out, so you're unlikely to even find them.
There's still like a couple places where you can invade and hit people near the end of the game, because the end of the game kind of funnels away the open world aspect a bit. So that's usually where a decent amount of the higher level PvP happens. The lower level PvP, you're mostly right on that, except the fact that password scaling, but is basically copy pasted directly from Dark Souls 3. So some people will just summon their max level friend, like literal like max level.
Yeah.
And that guy, because none of the shit scales properly, will completely dunk on most invaders. But then there's like the flip side of that meme where there is some really broken shit really early in the game that like, it's not really broken in PvE, it's like really broken in PvP. Because like when you're low level, right, when you're basically like fresh, you have like 500 HP, right?
Something like that, yeah.
There's like throwing jar builds you can do where like you hit the person for like 400 damage. It's fucking retarded. Like watching like PvPers, because I've watched a decent amount of PvP streams just because I find that more interesting than all the PvE streams. And like a lot of them just have items, and like because you can craft while in invasions, right? If you didn't know, you can still craft items. But as long as you're not in combat. So if you let the invader run away from you and they were like throwing a bunch of annoying ass items at you, most likely they just, as soon as they drop combat, they just craft all those items back up again and they're back to annoying you again.
Yep, sounds right.
I think
Would it be a From Software game if there wasn't something like this?
pretty much no, but I think
I've
Not an
yet.
excuse. It's just that's From
If
Software.
we're talking From Software, I've yet to take off my shoulder pads by pushing left trigger, right trigger, square, left on the D-pad, and click in the stick.
You can even do that? It's like, yeah, now I can fly.
Yeah. Now that I have no ammo, I can use my sword on you.
I mean, the thing is, like, I've realized that they don't really want to balance around PvP, right? And every Souls game has tried something different in terms of, like, the general PvP experience. I think Elden Ring's variant is kind of a flop. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, they definitely don't like. I'd say that it's good not to balance around it because like that's a small subset of the people who actually want to play the game, right? The PvPers. And no matter how you balance it, those people are always going to kind of be they're of a type, so they're always going to kind of like find the way to break it. So I can understand not bothering to balance around it, since this is not a PvP game, and a lot of games have kind of seen things turn out poorly when you take a PvE game and make it a PvP game. A lot of MMOs have those sorts of problems, which is why many MMOs just have like separate like equipment sets entirely for PvP, and like how the game works changes if you're in a PvP area, because like it's no fun to be ganked, first of all, and then second of all, like balancing around both is a heckin' skill that like you kind of have to design your game around. And then you're requiring too much out of your PvE players because a lot of them are just like, hanging out trying to not cry after work. So they're just trying to play a fucking video game. And if you make the game so hardcore that only your PvP players can play it, you're limiting the people who can actually play your game. Your user base is getting mighty small.
I think they just went a little bit too far into the other direction, I think, and it just kind of ended up hurting both sides for this game. Because I think like the idea behind invasions in general is that you're supposed to take like a risk, and then that risk pays off or you get punished for that risk if you get killed by the invader or whatever. So like Embering in Dark Souls 3. The issue is, I've realized this after thinking about it a little bit, that the Rune Arc system doesn't really follow that, because you still have to kill like Godfrey minimum, or one of the Elden Lords.
Yep.
To be able to really use Rune Arcs in the first place. And I've never used a Rune Arc so far in my like 300 hours in this game that I've put into it.
Yeah, there's no real reason to use them. Like, there's no reason. I guess there's no reason not to use them other than they're a fint resource. And I mean, you can just go around, defeat a few bosses with other people, and basically have unlimited amounts. So
I
like,
have 300 Rune Arcs.
Yeah. So like with the humanities, at least if you were just chilling with the humanity on, you could get invaded. So there was a reason not to do that. But with Rune Arcs, you might as well just have it on all the time if you're going to, because they're easy enough to get, and you don't get any, like, nothing gets worse. It's not like the in Bloodborne, there's that one resource where the game gets extra freaky if you keep using them, like stuff like that. There's none of that. Is it knowledge? I think it's something,
Insight or something.
Insight, yeah. You take an item and the enemies can get stronger, and they also like get different attacks and drops and stuff. So like in that game, there's also a reason to use those. Whereas here, the Rune Arcs are just, here's a buff item. Also, the first one they give you is kind of like too good. Why would I bother with any of the other ones?
I think the only other one you kind of bother with is the one that gives you a shit ton of HP, and that's after you get to a high enough level where the stats don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
It's like after you get to like, I find in this game, once you get to around, I'm like 160, right? Once you get around that level, you start getting so many points that you're like, I can kind of do anything I want. Like, I can wear almost the heaviest armor in the game. I can use almost any weapon I want to use, depending on the build I'm running, to like pretty much its maximum level. So there's like, leveling past this point doesn't really get me a whole lot, it feels like.
Yeah, it just lets you put more numbers in, get a bigger bar, but it's not
and use
gatekeeping
more
you.
stuff without annoying restrictions.
Yeah.
Stupid meme issue with my jump attack build is that like, I didn't really have points to put anywhere. Like, I could put more points in endurance, I guess, so I have more stamina, but that's kind of it. Because like my equip load sucks, but like, it's not. I can't get. It's impossible for me to get to like a poise level that matters when you're forced to use a chest piece with like one poise on it.
Yeah. Yeah, the stat split is just kind of, it's all over the place, and there are probably like too many stats just in general, and definitely too many items use like too many types of stats at the same time. Looking at you, all the blessings that require int, it's like I don't have that many stat points.
What you could,
If I was on like new game plus
if you had
3,
no HP.
yeah, that's the problem with this class. It starts with no HP. That's why I was always getting bodied. I had to invest in HP by a lot, like 30 levels of HP, something like that.
That sounds about right for this game.
So like that's fine, but it requires a lot of adventuring, which may or may not be okay depending on what part of the game you're in. Luckily, they give you the option to not just go directly for the first boss, because you know, if you had to do that without being able to level at all, like do the Southern Island, you'd have a heck of a time as a bunch of the classes.
I think
Well,
you
it
can
was,
still
it was
skip
tuned
that
under the
first
assumption that if you're not really, really good, you're going to have to go that way.
Yeah, you can skip the first boss. I did.
Are we talking about like Morged, or are we talking about like Godfrey or whatever his name is?
God. Well, technically both.
dude.
You can skip both of them.
Yeah.
But like, if you could not skip them, or if you couldn't go south, you'd have a heck of a time. As many of the classes, just because like the amount of scaling or the amount of investment you have to do to not get bodied all the time is a lot, and even more if you want to actually use a weapon skillfully. Like if that tree sword or that tree halberd wasn't there, the weapons you have that are available to you at the start of the game are so bad that you would just have a heck of a time the whole time.
Kind of like the Dark Souls problem in general, where the start of the game kind of sucks because you know there's all these cool weapons you could use, but then you get nothing at the start of the game.
Yeah. They lead you to believe some of the weapons are cool though. Put weapon arts on them, I guess. I don't know. It's weird. It definitely could go deeper, but I think that's about all we got to say about Elden Ring for now. We can always come back later. Another day, another ring.
Yeah. Despite all of my ragging on it, I do think this is a really good game, though. Like,
Yeah, it's well produced. Nothing's terribly wrong with it. The only issues we were having with was like the anti-cheat basically, and connection issues, which is like it's a video game. That's how it works. But
Pretty
like
much.
the game itself functioned. I didn't get stuck in anything, I don't think.
We didn't run into any bad hackers like we did in Dark Souls.
Yeah. Well, that's a matter of time, right?
Yep.
I
So
have.
the anti-cheat has been doing most of its job for the moment.
Oh, I've ran into hackers before.
Yeah, but we haven't run into the obnoxious types that we run into before. And the next time we play, that still won't be a problem.
Yep. The only hacker I ran into wasn't on recording or anything. I just got like, I was like helping some dude run through an area and an invader happened, and then he basically showed why the gun is better than the sword and like AK'd us all down.
All right.
Like he basically went into like the gun, like holding like a crossbow or something, but like both me and the other phantom like instantly exploded and died.
Like, oh, that's good.
Yeah, and that's the only time I've encountered a hacker. I feel like I've encountered probably more, but they're more subtle cheaters where they like have infinite Estus or something.
Yeah. Nothing that's like teleporting through the world, or like, you know, Team Fortress hacks where these instantly turn towards you and headshot you, like that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I don't think that's the anti-cheat doing a good job, because I think the PvP in this game is dying already, so it's not like there's cheaters anyway. So. Anyway.
Anyway. It was fun. Look forward to the next one.
Yeah, we'll see when we come back. If we come back, probably with the next DLC or whatever. That'd be the time. Whenever that happens, 6 months from now, quite possibly when this video is coming out. Since the shortness of the videos has made it so that we get a lot more of them compared to the previous Dark Souls runs.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, for today, I'm Civvie.
I'm Parker.
And I'm Cam.
And we'll see you guys next time.